Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Klein.
Alrighty, well, it's the next day. The MDF base boards are sealed with lacquer. I'm going to go ahead and start the installation. Yeah, I had to let them sit overnight, even though it said it was going to take 30 minutes. It's pretty cold out here, and I kind of slathered it on pretty thick. So they should be nice and sealed. So let's get started. Okay, so the next step is assembling the base frame. And we need the feet, the hex key, some 25 millimeter in length cap screws, the cross straps, MDF base plate, and end plate, and spare hex keys. Not really sure what that's for. Flashlight and level. And the level kind of throws me, but we'll get to that here in a bit. So I've got everything right here ready. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So okay, there's a warning not to assemble it on the floor, and to avoid cross threading. And it says lay out the cross straps, and then attach the rear MDF base plate. So I'm going to go ahead and set up figure 2.3 and 2.4 and all, and get it ready for figure 2.5 down there. Laid out the three cross straps. I think that's what they're called. And I used a level, and I measured 12 inches between them. Okay. Up and back. Yeah, just believe me, I measured the back side too. By the way, this is the front. It was one of the notes in there to orient it front and back. And since we have our tools and everything right there, and our parts and everything over there, this is going to be the front, and back there is going to be the back. Okay, let me throw some MDF on there. And okay, so we've laid out the cross straps. It also says to note the flanged edge facing down. Yeah, so like that. All right. Okay, and let's see here. Now we're going to attach the rear MDF base plate. It doesn't matter which one. Yeah, the countersunk holes need to be facing up. And place the MDF base plate across the back half of the three cross straps, line up screw holes. Okay, as shown in the figure. And by the way, they had a note in here, where was it? Be careful not to, be careful to avoid cross threading, and if you have problems getting the screw in, we'll probably run across that note later. But anyway, I went ahead and test fit the screws to make sure they're going to go in the holes okay before we stick the MDF on there. So let me put the MDF on there, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I use the spare hex Allen wrenches to line the holes up. The MDF is in place. I go ahead and try to get this screw down off in there. Yeah, it's going to need a little bit of so that'll take two hands. I can't hold my phone. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just used my hex. I left the three in the back, all right? And I took the hex screw I'm going to use to tighten the screw up with, and I stuck it down in this hole and kind of warbled it around. I don't know if you can see that with I'm shaking the camera at the same time. Anyway, to kind of get the hole kind of centered or lined up. Let's see if it goes in there this time. The tolerances are very tight on this stuff, so there we go. That seemed to work pretty good. Okay, so got that one started. Let's go back to this guy right here. Do the same thing, kind of get them all lined up. Put the screw in there. Well, that one didn't take. Let's try that again. This is definitely easier to do without the camera. I mean, without me holding my phone, because I need to be able to kind of move it around a little bit. So anyway, you get the idea. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got all 3 screws installed. And on the notes here, it says turn the screws until but do not fully tighten them. And the reason why they're doing it is so we can move make adjustments to everything. And so they said not fully tighten. I usually snug them up and then back off like a quarter to a half a turn. All right. And snug being not tight, just to where the screw stops, and then back it off quarter to a half a turn. I find that that usually works pretty good for most things I assemble, including IKEA furniture, which is where I think I learned that skill. Anyway, okay, so where are we at? Now we're going to attach the front MDF faceplate, and I don't think there's anything exciting there. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick it on there, and I'll be back when we get ready to do the rear end plate. Okay, so now we're going to attach the rear end plate. Just take one of the 2 identical end plates and place the end plate along the back under the 3 cross straps. Use the hex nuts, the spare Allen wrenches to align all the holes up. It just says make sure all 3 cross straps are resting on top of the end plates. Yeah, that would be pretty bad if you got it up underneath the MDF. But they've got a nice little picture right there to make it all nice and clear. And nothing, just using the same hex nuts. So I'm sorry, button cap screws. So, oh, by the way, so I already got the end plate out. Okay, for good measure, I went ahead and test fit the screws in the end plates, and or the end plate or end strap. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, because these things they look like they're powder coated, and what happens is you get some leftover powder coating inside the threads, and it can make it a real booger to thread in a screw. And if you ever worked with cheap equipment or cheap powder coating, you'll know what I'm talking about. The powder coater is supposed to clean them out, or the manufacturer. But they all went pretty good. And oh, by the way, I also test fit the feet since they were out. Both of them kind of went in. Well, I don't know. They only go so far and then stop. And I think I remember I always read ahead a little bit in the instructions. And I don't know if it's supposed to stop. Oops, sorry. I don't know if it's supposed to stop right there, but both of them stopped yeah, see this one's going in okay. It's a little tight, so but yeah, this one right here is kind of hard. You don't want to be messing around with this thing up underneath there, so I don't know, I'm gonna have to I got it stuck in there now. I'm going to have to get that thing out of there, and then maybe see if I've got a tap, or maybe put some WD-40 on that to see if I can get some of that powder coating out of the threads. And this isn't an extra step. This was actually in one of the earlier steps when we were doing the inventory. I just didn't want to mess with it. Get that cleaned up, and I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, well, I couldn't get that by using the foot. I couldn't get the threads cleaned even with some WD-40. And I didn't have a tap that fit it. I didn't know what size it was. The manual doesn't say what size it is. And I tried a couple taps I had laying around. And so I went to my local auto parts store, and they loaned me this, they loaned me, quote unquote, this thread restorer kit set for $127. And I have 48 hours to take it back. And I've never used something like this. I was asking for a tap. I was just going to get an M8 tap. They didn't have one. But they do have this M8 thread restorer gadget. And like I said, I've never used one of these. I'm guessing you just screw it in there. So I'll go ahead and and put some WD-40 on it and screw it in there. I was trying to see. Yeah, I don't know. I could Google it, but I think if I just screw this thing in, it'll be all right. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got it screwed into the hard part, and I did squirt a little WD-40 on there, kind of, like I was using a tap, and it seems to be going in there. Well, not real easy, but yeah, you can kind of see it's getting that powder coating out of there. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. And, I'm not going to be able to. Let me squirt a little bit more WD-40 on it. I'll have to clean all this off. I don't want WD-40 all over my CNC machine. Sorry, I'm trying to work and hold the phone. It's hard to do. Maybe if I back up a little bit. There you go. I'm still not able to turn with my fingers yet. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And get the foot here and see it. I should be able to get the foot in there now. Let's have a go at it. Oh, yeah, much better. Look at that. Just like a brand new one. Maybe I'll run that through all of them since I have the kit. They said if I bring it back within 48 hours, I can get my money back, and it'll basically just be a loan, right? Just don't forget to take it back. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just run that through all of them to make the feet easier to install. And I'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned out this one as well. This one was okay, and I cleaned out this one with the thread restorer tool, and I know I didn't show you, but I just put a couple drops of WD-40 on the thread restoring tool, and then just threaded it in and backed it out, and I also did the other bracket. Right here, I went ahead and ran it through these, and it seemed like all but one needed that done. So yeah, if you've got a tap or something, that would probably work. That thread restoring tool works as well. Anyway, so I went ahead and these screw the threads for these guys right here, the mounting bracket, or mounting the base to these end plates, had no problems. It was just the feet. I don't know why. So I didn't check the holes on the other bracket yet. I will before I install it. But yeah, so I got all the socket heads, the socket screws started. I'm gonna go ahead and not tighten them up, but run them down, back them off a quarter or a half turn, and then jump on the other one. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and install the second one. Like I said, I already cleaned the adjustable feet holes out. I haven't tested the small ones yet. I did have a problem with one of them on that side. I had to put a couple drops of WD-40 on it. So yeah, I might just put WD-40 on all these just as a matter of course, help everything kind of slide in a little better. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I'm just using this Allen wrench to line everything up. I just kind of roll it around in there. And I start from the middle and work both sides. And yeah, I'm sorry this phone is so zoomed in. I'm not sure what's going on with this guy. But I have to stand so far back from it. It's like an ultra zoom mode. Anyway, I didn't need to use any of the other Allen wrenches to get these things lined up. So it's going together pretty smoothly. Oh, wouldn't you know it, the very last one right here is not going in good. I got all the other ones started, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, putting that WD-40 on there is a lot nicer. Everything goes together a little bit smoother. And then I got to this last one right here and it wouldn't go in. So now I'm going to take it all apart and see what's going on. Darn it, that's what happens when you don't test the threads first, right? Well, I ran the screw in it, and it didn't have any problems going in there, so that tells me we might have a little bit of an alignment issue going on. Maybe I'll start this one first, and then try to get the rest in, because the rest light I had no problems with. It was just this last one right here. So yeah, it's probably a bit off, that hole is. Anyway, I'll tinker with it. I'll be back. Okay, well, I got them all in there. Yeah, this side was a little bit tight. I don't know if it's a hole alignment thing or the not square thing or what, but definitely putting the WD-40 on them helped them screw in a lot easier. I think if they were dry, I can see why they would have a cross-threading problem, because the threads are dry, they're binding. Yeah, I think I'm going to use, where they're not using Loctite, I'm going to use WD-40 everywhere else. And in fact, I've been debating whether to pull the other screws out and just put a couple drops of WD-40 on there, just to keep them from rusting, keep them loose. Yeah, I might just go ahead and do that. In fact, I think I will. I got the needle nose here, so it's easy to just unscrew them, pull them out, put them back in, and then next time I take these boards off, because I think this is the waste board, and next time I take these boards off, they should just come right out, because they'll have a little bit of residual oil left on it. I know don't flame me. I know WD-40 is not oil, but it's the lightest thing I have right now. Okay, so I'll be back. I pulled all the screws out and put a couple drops of WD-40 on there and put them in. I remove the screws one at a time. I don't pull them all out at the same time. But yeah, just pull them out one at a time, or I did anyway. But I wanted to recommend, when you're putting this together, use a drop of oil or drop of WD-40 on those threads. It makes assembling this thing 10 times better, or easier, I should say. A lot of the screws I could just screw in with my fingers after that, because I think a lot of these threads are still new. They're rough, and they've got a little bit of powder coating in there. And always remember what red green says. If it moves and it's not supposed to move, use duct tape. If it doesn't move and it's supposed to move, use WD-40. That's from red green. And for you older folks out there, you'll know who I'm talking about. Okay, so the next step is installing the leveling feet. It's got a warning there about lifting this thing up. I don't know why they had to do that. It's pretty obvious. It's heavy, even when you get it in the shipping crate. So anyway, we won't read that. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, they just say lift one corner up at a time, or you can lift one side up at a time. Okay. With mine here, I think I'm just gonna scooch it off the edge a little bit, and I don't know. I might be able to just lift. I mean, it's not that heavy. Geez, just stick a block of wood under here, and so I can put two on at a time, right? So anyway, let me get those on real quick. Well, that was easy peasy. Now that we've cleaned and oiled those holes for the feet, they're easy finger tight. By the way, it says in the instructions right here that adjust it until it's flush with the end plate is shown. And if you're wondering how to get it flush, just take one of your wrenches and hold it down like that, and then just run the foot up till it touches the wrench, and they'll all be identical, right? And here's how I just picked it up with two hands and held it with one and stuck a block under there. It was super easy. It's not that heavy, right? Anyway, I'll do the other side. I won't bore you with the details, and I'll be back. So the next step is an initial leveling of the machine. And that was concerning me a little bit because I have my table on rollers, and there is not a level floor, never a level part in my floor. And I was sitting there thinking, oh man, I'm gonna roll this thing around and end up having to level this thing every time. I might have to take the wheels off and just put it in one spot. Hopefully not. But I went ahead and was looking at their picture. I threw the level on there, and yeah, it's not perfect, but it's pretty doggone close. I'm gonna call that close enough for now. I did adjust the feet a little bit, and because yeah, the shop floor does slope a bit, and I also, let me back way up here so you can take a look at it. I mean, I have to get 4 foot away from this thing to look at it. Anyway, I kind of threw the level on it like that, and I don't know how level these machine parts are right here, but I don't have a smaller one with me. I don't know, what does that look like? Anyway, it was pretty close. It said this was, in the instructions, it said it was about it was just kind of a rough thing, rough leveling, or rough approximates are acceptable at this stage, okay, because nothing's tightened yet. I guess they just want it level when you tighten everything up. So hopefully, when I tighten everything up and then roll it around, it'll still be okay. So, the other step was to measure these diagonals. I'll try to do this while showing you. It was pretty close. It was about 60 1/4 from the outside edge to the outside edge. Oops. And going from the other outside edge to the other outside edge is pretty much, there's a little bit of a difference. It's 60, not quite 60 1/4, maybe 60 and I don't know, an eighth, or no, it's over an eighth. So anyway, I'm gonna call it close enough. It says later a final leveling and squaring will be completed, and that's probably when we're going to tighten everything up. So okay, we're moving along. Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button, that really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.